I can't help but feeling that what it all boils down to is the fetishization of individualism has completely decimated the individual. And it's ironic because the individual as a unique, exceptional, indispensable being has been destroyed by this relentless obsession with individualism. Bureaucracy most definitely encapsulates this. I feel that the despair and the misanthropy comes in when there feels and seems to be no way out of the realization that in the modern age, we are all merely cogs in the machine. As Marxists would say, I think I would be a bit more blunt and a bit more severe and say that none of us matter, that everybody is dispensable because everybody is deemed a human insofar as they have particular skills and that they are valued for those particular skills. And aside from those skills, particularly those specialized skills, the individual does not exist. I feel that the idealization of modern society was that, yes, within the workforce, within the labor market, there would be that sense of being dispensable, that sense of being a mere specialist cog in a machine, and that alternatively the private sphere, the home, your private personal life would be a place in which you were deemed indispensable by your partner or partners, by your children, by your closest friends.
아빠 담배 끊었어. 알았어. 아빠가
What I find most horrifying is that the private sphere, the family unit, our private inclinations, our private joys, hobbies, and space has now been completely taken over by the bureaucratic processes of modern life. In our private lives, in which we're meant to feel like we are indispensable, like we are cherished, like we are special, whether that be in, as I said, the family unit, through our personal religions, etc. There is nothing more horrifying to me and nothing more melancholy, I suppose, in realizing that I am insignificant and that I am dispensable. And I think that that is becoming a reality for a lot of people, increasingly so. You can see that in, for instance, modern dating. Finding love that is that person or persons who are going to deem you indispensable is now done through an algorithm, done through these corporations who collect data and information on you and pair you up with individuals based on algorithmic equations, what have you. And the crux of that is that with this, it is a game. That is what it is. It is a game where you are competing against other players, and if you lose and if you're rejected, you are in a sense eliminated from the race. And it isn't that the person who wins is winning because of meritocratic reasons. For me, on a personal level, I definitely feel this. What our age represents to us is two extremes. On the one hand, we are presented with the idea of individualism, which everybody is incredibly obsessed with in the modern world. Obsessed with the idea that we are individuals with complete autonomy.
예, 저는 쌍문동사는 성기훈인데요.
이 쌍문동 씨.
예.
Yet on the other extreme, the extreme which I think in the tug of war of extremes, this side, this extreme is winning dramatically, is the fetishized individualism. We have become so obsessed with the idea, on the one hand, that the reality doesn't matter because the ideal is what is promoted, the ideal is what is believed, that there is no understanding that the idea is destroying the reality of the idea becoming a reality in and of itself.
여러분께서는 그런 저희를 믿고 모두 자발적으로 어떤 강압도 없이 이 게임에 자원하셨습니다.
Something like Squid Game, there's this idea with the contract or the covenant that a contract is signed, that individuals have therefore freely and by their own free will gone into this agreement, into this covenant, and thus have to fulfill their part of the bargain. They're not being coerced in any way. It is their free will. And I think that represents the idealized obsession with individuality and individualism, contrary to the reality of individualism, fetishized individualism, in which, in actual fact, those individuals did not have a choice. Nobody had a choice because everybody was dispensable. Everybody was a mere cog in a machine. It is not choice. Choice cannot be defined as such if it derives from despair. I was very affected by Squid Game insofar as it represented the plight of the modern age. And I think that's why it resonated so much with individuals in the United States and the United Kingdom. I don't feel that this is just a coincidence. I feel that it's because it speaks to something in a lot of people. It really represents the despairing nature of our age, the debt which everybody is in some shape or form, whether it be in the form of a mortgage, student loan debt, credit card debt. You owe something to someone, and you owe something to someone that is faceless, to a bureaucratic entity, to processes and systems, to unthinking contracts and deals and arrangements and networks.
지금 이 자리에 계신 여러분들은 모두 감당할 수 없는 빚을 지고
And that is a haunting prospect for all of us, obviously. So as I said, we as individuals are not treated as distinct, exceptional individual thinkers and entities in our own right. We are treated as a type of mechanized human being whose use is reduced to a skill and how quantifiable it is. The individual has lost its primary characteristic, indispensability. The thing with bureaucracy is that one form of bureaucratic process and institutionalization cannot beat another one. The processes are universal in that what is not predictable cannot be overcome. For example, the prospect of a secret order establishing a deadly series of games, or something as simple as billionaires accumulating more wealth than a small nation, capable of going to space on private missions which surpass NASA. And I think this can be seen in Squid Game, for instance, in the harvesting of human organs. This is one such trade and example of bureaucratization and complex networking that cannot be defeated by another form of bureaucracy, for instance by Interpol or a national police force. This example also represents how dispensable human beings are increasingly becoming and being perceived as. We are the organs of the modern body and machine, which necessitates replacements when one organ faces challenges or fails. How do we come to the game of bureaucracy? How do we come to the game of submission to the bureaucratic processes of our age? It is because at essence, we have no money. We are all in debt. We have no individualism without a dependence. I think Hobbes' Leviathan is very representative of this, in that the frontispiece of Leviathan has always intrigued me. And it intrigues me because the drawing of the Leviathan, of the ruler, has within him bodies of individuals, all of whom are looking up at this individual. Somehow all these bodies who have come into agreement, who have signed into a covenant, a contract, who have relinquished their true individualism.
저희가 처음 여러분을 찾아갔을 때도 여러분들은 저희를 믿지 않으셨습니다. 하지만 보시는 것처럼 저는 게임을 하고 여러분에게 약속된 돈을 드렸습니다. 여러분께서는 그런 저희를 믿고 모두 자발적으로 어떤 강압도 없이 이 게임에 자원하셨습니다.
With all that being done and all that being said, there was no foresight or knowledge into the fact that this Leviathan would become so omnipotent. And in being omnipotent and all-powerful, it has completely eradicated any prospect of those bodies which form it, which make it, being able to resist and tear themselves away from it. And I do feel that that is the reality of a lot of young people. I'm so sorry that I'm speaking so quietly, but it is currently 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm exhausted. But I just felt like talking to you. Thank you so much. And this has miraculously and inadvertently made me feel a lot better. So I think I will sleep well tonight.